Our very own Troy Deeney joins us. Hi, Troy.
Hi, Jed. How you doing?
Good. How do you think the Spurs directors would fare at Vicarage Road? Would they enjoy? They could have a look at Elton's outfits and his glasses, couldn't they? Enjoy a bit of that.
They'd like it there. I'm not sure they'd like it down at the Den though, at Millwall.
No, they'll make it nice. They'll put them in a porter cabin, won't they? And turn the heating off for them. So, a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about. Retaken pens, the art of the retaken pen, which you don't see a lot of them really. It was only that Gay got there first that they had no choice. But I just wonder if your experiences of them. I mean, does it drive when one of your teammates does encroach and it's cost you, or basically you've done it, or you have to take another one? What's the psychology of it?
From the penalty taker's point of view, you mean?
Yeah.
So for the penalty taker, you start double guessing and try to double bluff yourself, if anything. Because if the keeper saved it, you're like, oh, should I go back to the same way? Will he stay there? Will he go the other way? You start having all these weird out-of-body experiences where you start questioning yourself. You're actually talking to yourself. In my personal look and view of that game yesterday, when I was watching Rissa celebrating because he knew Brian Burma doesn't miss 2 in a row, I just thought that was brilliant. I really thought that was excellent. And then to see the goalkeeper lose his head and kick a ball at him, that happens at training grounds all week.
He's right in his eye line, Troy, isn't he, as well? I mean, he's celebrating right in the keeper's eye line. So, I mean, I wonder if there's a little bit of that to it as well.
Absolutely. And you'll see if you ever go to training grounds, when goalkeepers get dinked, they do the same thing. So goalies will always say, don't mind staying out doing shots for you guys, but take it seriously. And then within 30 seconds, one of the strikers is trying to dink a goalie, and as soon as it goes in over his head, he's just blasted the ball away as far as he can. So they're a special species, the goalkeepers.
Do you like a bit? Have you had encroachment? You ever been done for that? You ever gone running into the box before a pen?
I'm not that fast, lads. No, I'd have to start now. No, I was always the penalty taker, so I was fortunate. I've not had to take a second pen, to be honest with you.
It's interesting that Mark Gay, obviously in the moment, he couldn't help himself going for the ball, but had he thought about it, had he really been like au fait with the rules, he wouldn't have touched it, because as soon as Mbuemo touched it, it would be a free kick, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
I suppose he couldn't help himself.
No, it's an unbelievable technique that these guys have, though. I know Ivan Toney used to do it before, and obviously Abramov's carried it on, but to just continue to look at the goalie the whole way until the last minute and then take your shot, to me, is frightening.
Yeah. Rallying after a red, Arsenal did it very well, actually, considering they were down to 10 men. They're a better team than Wolves. You could possibly argue even with 10 men with players missing, but still... they went on the front foot. They gave it a go. I mean, what is that like in a game situation, especially that early in a game?
When you go down to 10, and I was talking about this the other day actually to somebody, because I was talking about when we played Bournemouth in our with going for both of us trying to get promoted out of the Championship. We got a man sent off after 8 minutes in our biggest game of the season, and it just derailed everything. And we tried to just go for it in the end, because we tried to not lose. We ended up losing 3-0. But what it does, it just makes you feel like no matter what you do, you can't get close to anybody. And they're just gathering momentum and always keeping the ball. But I was really disappointed with Wolves, lads. I don't know whether you guys were, but you had a 15-minute spell where you're like, go on and get after them. And they were just, it was kind of like they were waiting for Arsenal to beat them.
Yeah.
And then obviously they get a send it off and make it even. But I know you've probably done it to death and everybody has, but it arguably the worst decision in football history.
Yeah. It goes back to something we've been saying, Andy and I, for months now. And it's something that Howard Webber's got to talk to his officials about. There is definitely, it feels like, I'm sure they would deny, there is a hierarchy amongst referees. Yeah. And the ones who are untouchable are Tails and Ollie. You never saw off, inverted commas, Tails and Ollie.
And it works in reverse, because when they get involved as VARs, the junior ref doesn't feel
just does what they're told.
Yeah.
You can't have Darren England should be free to say, Howard Webb should say to him, if you think he's wrong, say he's wrong. It sounds like they're doubling down a bit, because apparently they're claiming that he went down his Achilles, which he didn't. So why is the VAR, why is Darren England not saying you've got it wrong?
I am part of the old school where if you went down somebody's Achilles, he isn't getting up within 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
That.
Yeah.
And also, that tackle we will see close to them 40 times between now and the end of the season. Where someone just clips somebody, stops them from breaking away, and it'll be a yellow.
Yeah.
The fact that Michael Oliver's gone straight for a red, and I like Michael, I think he's a nice guy, but you gone straight for a red without giving himself a second to think, and how was that, and where are we, and assess the situation, says to me that the standard's just dropping. And I know refs are going to message me, because whenever we talk about refs, I get a message within about 10 seconds because they're all listening. But unfortunately, that's a terrible decision, and he got it wrong. The reason none of us have any sympathy for referees is because they never come out and go, "Oh, no, we're wrong there. Sorry, guys."
No, this is true. I think the acid test on that decision was, if he'd given a yellow, there wouldn't have been one person in the entire universe that thought it was a red. If you'd just given the bloke a yellow
Absolutely.
card,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah. And I think, it's up to Howard Webb to sit down with Michael Oliver and say, look, this is not acceptable. The way you're refereeing, the way, you sort of been putting yourself as if you're like more important than the players. It's like, it was just a mad decision. It was like, I've got to make an impression on this game. And,
the only context you could actually claim it was denying a goal scoring opportunity if it was someone like Adama Traore. But God bless him.
Bolt.
God bless him, it was Matt Doherty. Yeah. I've seen a lot of Matt. He would have got to the halfway line. He would have been begging for the Arsenal players to catch him up.
Yeah,
but also as well, though, like you remember, that's not even just a foot race. We're going to have to control the ball, run for 70 yards without anybody who hasn't got a ball being able to catch it. Yeah, I just thought it was a crazy decision. And if you actually look, because I like to look at the players' faces behind, even the Wolves players were like, "Huh?" Like none of them were like, "Oh." It was a bit like they were bamboozled by it. It's a bad decision, and then as you say, to double down on it afterwards and be like, he's gone down his Achilles. Just say he got that one wrong. They're gonna have to overturn the red card if they let this red card continue. Yeah. And ruin the young kid's start to his career. By the way. Yeah. And that's frightening. That is a scandal in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Just finally, if you're in a dressing room at the moment, Troy, last week before the window closes, are your players having conversations? You're saying, I think we need to bring someone. We need a bit of cover at right back. Do you know where you need strengthening?
Yeah, absolutely, you would. And I think if you're Spurs, none of you could say a single thing. No. You've all just got to sit there and hope that you ain't getting shipped out. But when it's when you look around, like the lads at Leicester, for example, I said it in the build-up to it. If I was in that dressing room at Leicester going, we've got Spurs next, they'll give us a chance, They'll give us a chance. This will be the opportunity to build, and then you do win. Right, you'll be looking around going, if we could get a defender in, if we could get a backup for Vardy, whatever it might be, we've got a real chance of staying out, and the lads will, normally will speak that into existence with their people as well. So, for me, I think it's an interesting week. It is an interesting week now, and hopefully we get some good stories.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons, 1 till 4, on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.